the last couple of
goodness,
minutes.
seriously.
Wearing the sweatshirt, man.
I know, right? I do it to myself. Call it conditioning.
No bucket hat though. What's up with that?
I know I switched from the bucket. Guys were really getting on me. It had a lot of sweat stains. They said it looked like Yeezy Season 3, so I had to change it up and go with the visor. So it's a good move.
Is this a permanent switch, you think, or?
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I heard there's bucket sales all out the bookstore, so might have to go get one.
So you have that relationship with your players where they like.
Oh yeah,
are
definitely.
on you about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
What's that like?
And I feel like when we have that connection, you know, it's a lot easier to coach them harder too, right? You always say you want to love them just as hard as you coach them. That's one thing I learned from Coach Foss. Like even throughout the team, Coach Foss has had a great relationship with every position group, which is now in the position he's in, he's able to reach everyone on the team. So doing that myself at the corner room, that's all I'm trying to emulate.
How are things going with your corners, and I guess where have you seen, the biggest jump from what you saw in spring camp?
Yeah, for sure. The corners are doing a tremendous job, working super hard. We actually got a lot of depth now. I'd say top to bottom, guys have made tremendous improvement from spring ball till now. As you guys probably see, there's a couple things we're figuring out in terms of pairings and all that different stuff between 3, 6, 9, number 1, 29's doing a great job, 18, all that good stuff. So guys are really competing, working hard, and I'm proud of what we're doing right now.
What have you seen out of Kalen Moore so far?
Yeah, he's been great. Super sharp kid, super intellectual actually. Plays the game up top as well as with his feet, has good footwork and all that good stuff. He's been a tremendous add for us, not just depth, but possibly a guy who could go out and play 50-plus, 60-plus plays.
What kind of versatility does he bring? 'Cause I think at Cal, was he a nickel?
Yeah, he was. He was a nickel. And that's where some of that intellectual, prowess comes from, being able to slide inside, play outside, understanding splits, different route combinations and whatnot. We focused on his development outside, but he gives us the ability to really move him anywhere and say, really the next best DB is going to get on the field, not just the next best corner, next best nickel. Whenever we have a need, we can plug and play.
I saw Kanye was working with kick returners today.
Yeah.
Other things. He's starting to branch out a little bit. How far has he come since coming in last
Oh my
fall?
gosh,
Yeah.
he's been working, and that's all that guy knows. I mean, truthfully, he's probably put on 10 pounds of muscle or so. I feel like he has muscles on top of muscles nowadays. But he's been working super hard. Another guy who has some versatility, is learning kickoff return and all that good stuff. So we're proud with his growth and improvement for sure.
Last year's pass rush was so good, and that was such the emphasis of this defense. Now that it's kind of rebuilding this year, how does the role kind of change in the secondary a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we always say they work in tandem. Latu is my best friend, especially because what he was able to do getting to the quarterback. We got another crop of guys who are coming in, putting some heat on them, emphasizing crowding that pocket, taking the wins when we can get them, and then coverage just doing our job, right? If we can force him to have 2 hitches, then we can help our guys get home.
What's the biggest key for Devin, kind of as he tries to progress and get to the NFL and all that kind of stuff? What's the biggest key for him?
Yeah, absolutely. Kirkwood's been working super hard. Honestly, being a big, long corner, they're always going to be concerned with your pad level, right? Are you 6'4", but can you play with the 5'8" guys? Can you play with the 5'10" guys? And he's one of those guys who's big and long, who likes to get hands-on, but developing his feet and then being able to play with the scat guys who are quick and got the agility and all that stuff. So something he's been working on.
What do you think about just the overall size of the secondary? 'Cause you got Kirkwood at corner, you also got at safety, you got Brian Addison.
Yeah.
Basically looks like a wide receiver out
Yeah,
there.
seriously, you said wide receiver, but I think they look like aliens. Those dudes got some long arms and all that good stuff. They can cover the full range of the secondary and all that, so it helps cover up some of those zones and whatnot. But when you got tremendous length like that, you feel like you're at an advantage in terms of those matchups, right? You feel good covering tight ends, feel good getting hands on little guys. So the secondary's been doing a really good job, and like you said, their length is one of those things we rely on heavily. Yeah.
Shea Pitts has been back working with you guys. Is he with you guys permanently now? And how is he different now that he's had that fellowship experience with the Chiefs?
Yep. President Pitts does a great job. This might be year 8 for him at UCLA. He's awesome, knows the ins and outs. Even himself playing multiple positions, linebacker, some safety when he first came in, some nickel and all that good stuff. He helps the secondary in terms of getting practice ready to go, knowing some of those techniques and all that stuff. So we're happy to have him back. And then, going to Coach EB's old stopping ground, spending some time in the league, doing the fellowship. He's come back new and improved, I'd like to say.
And then you and Shea, you're both very hands-on with the drills. Why do you guys do that, and what difference does it make?
Yeah, we feel like our job as coaches is really to teach. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be guys out there who learn best on the board. You know, getting up on the board, doing X's and O's and all that stuff. They're going to be guys who are visual learners who can learn through the tape. There's going to be guys who need to see it drilled, see it demonstrated and all that stuff. And that's where Coach Pitts, having played recently, helps demonstrate all those drills, maybe even helps compete against those guys and just raise that level of intensity too. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you can show them what you did against, who was it? What dude? Who was it you got that catch on?
That's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Those battles against UCLA when I was playing for the other school were great. And it's awesome. UCLA has always had great athletes, especially from home, which is huge. So even on those teams, like those are some of my best friends we were competing against. And then we're just trying to circle the backyard. You know, that's been a big focus for us in recruiting.
As far as your other title goes, how are things going special teams wise, especially when it comes to, trying to sort out the kicking competition?
Yeah, special teams been going great, and that's the thing. We've emphasized competition. You know, we've kind of took on the challenge as a unit, as a team, to improve in special teams. A phase of the game that's super important, right? An opportunity to convert points, which was a big emphasis going from last year to this year, and so that leads to direct competition at that kicker spot. Who's going to give us the best chance to convert scoring opportunities, say where we're on the 10-yard line, 12-yard line, or maybe even some of those deep ones from the 32 and out, you know? So the competition's been great. We got really 3-4 guys who can really stripe it, who are doing a good job putting it through the uprights. And truthfully, we feel like we're blessed because now we can say the best guy is going to do it on Saturdays.
You mentioned Deshaun earlier and what you learned from him. How much do you guys kind of feed off of his energy, and what is his energy like at this point in camp?
Yeah, his energy is great. His energy is great. He's a source of energy for us because he's consistent. And that's been the biggest thing when he was a running back coach. Now with him being the head coach, it's just that motto of consistency. Comes out with great energy all the time, but then demands a high standard from our guys. That's what you saw, and that's why the running backs played so well. And then now having that spread out throughout the team, like as a coach, you feel like you can demand, and those guys are going to give it all they got.
And we've seen Tucker Meyer able to help you out with the specialists. How would you describe his energy?
Yeah, Tucker's energy is great. So really the true answer might be I'm wearing a visor because Tucker is. That's what the kids say. But his energy has been great. And with that emphasis on special teams, right, being able to convert scoring opportunities, being able to truly just elevate the level of special teams entirely, it was huge for me to have a guy that I could devote to that position group. Right, treat those guys like a real position group. They get direct coaching, all the attention they need throughout the day in the meeting room and all that good stuff. So it's been awesome.
I got to ask about your one assistant, skinny guy, glasses. He wore the gray long sleeves.
Yeah.
I think you were like teaching him dance moves
Yep.
at one point. What's your relationship with him, and how important is it to bring people like that into the fold?
Yeah. So his name's Durai Navanitha. He's great. I call him Day. He's actually a double major here, I want to say in physics and in math, so he's super sharp. Yeah, big time. And then his role in football, like he crushes the data side of it, and now we're just teaching him the football side of it. So setting up drills and all that stuff, getting involved. The dance moves might be involved too, you know what I mean? But he brings tremendous energy, and he's a huge help because now I don't have to worry about grabbing the next cone, grabbing the ball, grabbing the agiles and all that stuff.
So when you say data stuff, are we talking like, you know how like sports science used to be a thing?
Yeah.
On ESPN, like that type of stuff? Or?
Not all the way sports science and all that
Okay.
good stuff, but he helps, like, so you might see him in a special teams period, for example, charting some of those kicks and all that. It helps just collecting some of those numbers and then giving it to our staff to input. So that's one of his stretch roles, but other than that, he's an assistant for the cornerbacks. Yep.